All right, I want to give a quick little rundown on the difference between compression and tension and how to use it to your advantage when we're looking at yoga postures and how far we can go into something. Okay, so when we're looking at flexibility, when we're looking at how far we can go into a posture, how deep we can get into a stretch, your nervous system is the number one thing that's going to keep you from going further. But when we come to a hard stop, you have compression or you have tension that is stopping you from going further. And it's critical to know the difference, because when we know the difference and we can figure out what is causing the stop, we can make a good informed decision on whether we should actually try to go further, okay? So when we look at it, when we take a joint into an end range, okay? So I'm gonna take my ankle into dorsiflexion here. You have the regressive side of the joint that is getting smaller, and you have the progressive side of the joint that is getting longer. And if the stop, so if I come forward and I stop, if the stop happens back here, right, that is going to be tension. That is soft tissue. That is tissue's just doesn't have enough length or elastic profile to let me go further. If I feel the hard stop here, okay, that means that stuff is running into stuff. That is compression. So on the smaller side of the joint, if the stop is there, the side that which we're going to is where you feel the stop. That is stuff running into stuff. That is compression. If it is stuff back here, like you're feeling like a stretch, okay, that is what we call tension. Now, if it's tension, if the stop is here, I can work to go further without much thought to it in terms of, I don't want to sit there and pull myself because the tissues aren't ready for it. But I can conceivably sit here in this position and be totally fine, okay? And I can work to get further. Now, if it's happening on this side of the joint, on the smaller side, if it's compression, if it's stuff running into stuff, my teacher taught us that it's not really gonna change, and that may be correct, right? I may never be able to get more dorsiflexion because stuff is running into stuff. But I'm not just going to go, well, it's on the compression side, so I guess I can't go further. I'm gonna look at, a lot of times what it is it's bone running into bone, it's stuff you can't go further, but it also could be dysfunction. Like my tibia here may not know how to properly glide over the talus to take me further. So teaching the joint to operate properly can allow for compression to be overcome. Also, if the front of my ankle doesn't know how to pull me, if it's not strong enough to pull the tibia over the talus, right? If it doesn't know how to pull me there, there's gonna be a stop. So when there is compression, it isn't just something where I can be, well, I can just keep going further. Okay, if you feel it, let's say on this side of the joint, what I'm not gonna say is just keep pushing, you're gonna go somewhere, because that's not how it's gonna work. You have to change the angle, you have to teach the joint how to work properly, then you may overcome the compression. But it doesn't mean it's always gonna happen. It may just be stuff running into stuff, okay? So okay, we don't do this very often in a yoga class. We don't come in here, unless you take my classes, right? We'll work the ankle. But let's take a look at Upavishta Konasana. Let's take a look at a wide-legged forward fold. Okay, if I come into this wide-legged forward fold and I come to a stop and I ask myself, where do I feel the stop? And I say the stop is on either the back side of the legs or in the low back, okay? That is tension. That is stuff that if I just keep kind of laying here, eventually that may be overcome pretty easily without a lot of harm, unless a stupid yoga teacher comes up and pushes on your back, okay? We're not doing that. We're hoping we're all smart and there's no hands-on assists in these forward folds, okay? But if I feel compression on this side, in my hip creases, okay, that is a sign for stuff is running into stuff, and I don't necessarily want to hang out here, and I certainly don't want to try to push through it. So my first order of business is to go, it's on the front side. So are things not rotating properly? Is my pelvis not rotating over my femurs very well? So what I would do first is go, am I sitting properly? I'm going to take my butt, I'm going to shift it backwards to start to anteriorly tilt the pelvis. And then I may go, you know what, I actually want to turn my feet out a little bit, more external rotation. For most people, that's not going to work, okay? Or I may go, I'm actually going to internally rotate the femurs, turn them inwards, because that also already starts the forward fold motion. So now my pelvis has a little bit more space to fold over. Or it may be, I'm going to bend my knees, I'm going to press into the heels and pull backwards. I'm going to get my hamstrings to fire and then squeeze my quad muscles to press my thigh bones into the floor to allow my pelvis to rotate further. So understanding compression versus tension and where the stopping point is very, very key to how we approach the problem. If a student is like, Tate, I just feel stuck here. My first question is, where do you feel the stop? And if they go, it's back here, I'll be like, great. Let's keep working on length on the back side of the body. If they're like, I'm feeling it right here in my hips, I feel like I'm just stuck. Like I just hit a wall and I can't go any further. I may go, let's play with the angle of the legs. Let's externally rotate the legs. Let's take the butt, let's shift it backwards. Maybe we prop it up on a block. Maybe we bend the knees to come a little bit further. We get the hamstrings and quads firing, right? But at the end of the day, if it's compression, there still is a chance that is just how you are structured and there's no going further. But whether it's tension, whether it's compression, it can't just be, let's just pull ourselves deeper. That's not what's gonna work. And please, if you're a yoga teacher and you put your hands on people, don't move the movable object, okay? Ground the foundation, allow for the body to wanna move itself. Because guess what? I can't feel the stop. I can't feel whether their hamstrings can take a little bit more load or whether the joint can go further into it. So let the body move the body. We don't need to get our hands on people anymore, okay? Let the body move the body, but understanding whether it's compression on the front, on the shorter side of the joint, or tension on the back will go a long ways in determining how we approach the problem of trying to get further into these postures. Also ask yourself, why do you want to get further into these postures? It may be we want to get more flexible. That is a great thing, but remember, strength is always a good thing in those end ranges.